Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be looking at the new Kia EV9 GT-Line. And with that being said, let's just hop right into it. The GT-Line comes with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. This is all-wheel drive. Now, it has about 240 miles of electric driving range, a 0 to 60 time of 5 seconds, and that's because this has 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. And as you can see, we also have this cool little storage space up front. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see first off the Kia logo there, front and center, and I really do like this blue paint. You can also get it in a matte finish if you want. And then popping over the lights, this is pretty crazy. You guys can see there with the big daytime running light, and then look at the headlight cluster. Again, very similar to what you have with the Telluride in terms of the design, but then notice how it continues into the grille there, which is really cool. And notice obviously this is all closed off for aerodynamic efficiency, but I do love the blacked out elements there. And then we do have parking sensors on the front end. And putting it all together, let me know what you guys think about the front end design, but it has a cool boxy appearance, of course. Now, popping on the side here, our tire wheel setup is 285, 45, 21 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see here with the wheel design, pretty crazy. But notice it also is all about optimizing aerodynamic efficiency. That's why it's mostly closed off. Now, I've got these really cool fender flares all blacked out, and you can see that trim continues along the side, and then notice how that kind of breaks things up. And then we also have elements like the mirror caps, which are blacked out. You got the cool pop-out door handles, and then look at the roof rails there at the top. And then taking a look at the full side view here, you guys can see that it has that cool box design similar to the Telluride, but it is still very aerodynamically efficient. It's as aerodynamically efficient as a lot of the EV competition. Now quickly on the side here, this is where the charging port is. Just press that little line right there and then it'll pop open. I mean, actually have to press it, and this does have fast charging, but I want to focus on these tail lights. Look at the effect there. That is so cool. And then you guys can see with the rest of the back, like the Kia badge here, EV9 down below, parking sensors here, of course got the GT-Line badge, and this will lead us into the cargo area. Now, when it comes to storage space, it's actually pretty dang spacious back here. We do have a little bit more storage underneath, and then you guys can see we have a full outlet here in the back. You can raise and lower the seats as well, and then it's cool, you have this little tab here if you want to close it from inside. I know, I kind of find that part of it fun. And then this trim also looks really nice, but yeah, good storage space for a 3-row SUV. And don't worry, there's still a traditional button here at the top to lower things down. And then wrapping things up with the exterior design, let me know what your thoughts are here on the EV9. But again, for an EV, I think this is really sharp looking. Popping inside, we've got this really cool sunshade here, and I really like the materials, so it's soft touch pretty much everywhere. You can see this trim goes across the door handle too, also really cool. But with the materials, it's either recycled materials, just sustainable materials overall, which is kind of a thing that a lot of EV automakers are now doing. But yeah, really nice feel to it. And then look at the ambient lighting as well. And we do have heated and ventilated seats here for the rear passengers. And then taking a look at these seats here, notice how it's perforated all down the center, and then you've got a bunch of adjustments there. I like how it's all powered. That's pretty fancy. Now, I've got it darker back here so you guys can see the ambient lighting, but also makes it so it's darker back here. Anyways, legroom back here is great. You guys can see we've got a storage pocket, some cup holder action, and that's cool with the ambient lighting. This is actually a little storage container that this comes with, so you can kind of use this top part as like a tray basically, but then it is a giant storage container as well. And I should mention, with the ambient lighting, you can have it to be different colors. Like you'd have a different color on the bottom versus what's on the door panel here. And I've got armrests on the seats as well, which is another nice feature. And then headroom back here is actually really good, and got vents at the top, and they have a nice finish on them. That's really cool actually. And then you guys can see we have our own climate zone back here too. Now, with the third row, you guys can see we've got some storage space here, cup holder action, got a USB here in the back as well. And I will say these seats back here are just as nice as the center seats, and they are very comfortable too, which is great. And then having back here is also really good. Legroom, again, pretty typical for a crossover in this segment. Typically reserve it for kids is what I always say, but I mean, you can fit adults back here. Now, taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see again with the soft touch all over, and I love this trim that goes again to the door handle. We've got our memory seat function here, your heated and ventilated seat function, heated steering wheel. You also have massaging seats with this, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. We've got all of our window controls here, and then the mirrors do power fold in. Now, with the front seat, really cool with the mesh here at the top, you can see GT-Line, and then notice that's perforated all down the center. all of our power adjustments and everything here on the side. Notice got lumbar, all of that. And then look at the pedals. Those are very fancy looking. And then we've got our parking brake right here. That's just to pop open the hood. You can see for the cargo area, and then your stability control as well. And then that's just for the charging port. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, really cool 2-spoke design. We do have paddle shifters here on the back for the regen function. And then we've got practical controls like your voice command controls. We've got phone controls. You've got your adaptive cruise control with steering assist. And this is a steering assist system where you just have to kind of touch your hand to the steering wheel and it'll be able to sense that you are touching the steering wheel instead of having to constantly jerk it like what you have with some automakers. And then you've got your 4-wheel drive lock button here. It's gonna be kind of hard to see. And then also your drive mode select, which is another cool feature. And then you have your regular stocks in the back. And then you guys probably saw the kind of little startup animation there. That's how you start the car, is with the little EV button. And then you have a column shifter. And this is basically built in to basically help out, and sorry the camera didn't focus there, but to help out with freeing space in the interior. Now taking a look at the gauge cluster here, obviously we got a bunch of warning lights because this is like a prototype / pre-production car, but you guys can kind of get the gist of the overall design of the gauge cluster. That's why I wanted to show this. Show stuff like range and everything. And that's interesting. It says 244 miles of range with 85% state of charge. I have a little conspiracy that most of these EVs are underrated, because every single time I test an EV, it seems like I get more range than what is stated, which I find interesting. But I guess that's great, right? Under promise and over deliver. Now taking a look at the rest of the infotainment screen, first off, response time with this screen is absolutely fantastic, as you can see. And on top of that, it's cool that you can just like adjust random stuff like the seats, for example. And we also have like our own like driver centric thing right here. You guys can see it says driver only on that, to just stuff with the climate system. And the reason this is here is with EVs, right, climate does affect the range quite a bit. And so if you have stuff that's just focused on the driver, that's going to conserve range. And then down below, we've got these cool haptic feedback buttons for the infotainment system. And again, I feel like this is another thing that's kind of popping into the EV market, but it's cool. And I do want to mention here on the dash, it is soft touch, and then you can see more of the ambient lighting here with the GT-Line. And then we've got this really nice design here with the dash. It's kind of harder to see because we're focusing on the, I guess, the ambient lighting in today's video. But you guys can see the volume control, your actual physical button. And then you got some climate controls and then some little charging port action down below. And then of course, like our floating center console design. And speaking of center console, you guys can see we've got the cup holders, so you can push them back for more storage here or have them popped out, and then you can even cover it up if you want. And then we have stuff like our auto hold. You can see health descent control. It's for the camera system, parking sensors, and this is your fingerprint sensor. And then with the center console, got good storage. And then as you can see, we've got Kia's new style of key fob, if the camera will focus on it. There we go. I like the overall design. It has the cool illuminating logo as well, which is kind of a fun part of it. And then notice with the ambient lighting right there. And then obviously you got a bunch of storage down here with, again, that console design. But despite all the futuristic stuff, we have a traditional glove box, which I really appreciate. I like being able to just grab a handle and open up a glove box. And then you guys can see we have a rear view camera mirror as well, which is a nice safety feature. And then notice here with the control for the sunroof. And this isn't going to be very visible because you guys can't feel through the camera, but really nice headliner. Like, it's got a really soft feel to it. Now that is going to sum things up for our first look at the EV9 GT-Line. I will have more in-depth reviews on this new EV9 in the future, but let me know what you guys think about the EV9 first off. And if you guys haven't seen the review on the wind version, I also have a review on this one. This one has the cool matte paint, and it's interesting to see them next to each other with the gloss finish versus with the matte finish. The matte finish obviously accentuates the body lines quite a bit more, whereas this, it kind of just makes things look a little bit softer. So it's cool to see both of them next to each other. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on the EV9, and just stay tuned for more content in the future where we can talk about, you know, stuff like how the EV9 drives, because they have some pretty cool suspension tech with this as well to help out with making it extremely comfortable and also handle really well. But I'll see you.